Thank you. Good evening. How are we doing on time?
We're doing good because our MC isn't here yet.
So, do another one? I'm playing some new music for you since the last time I was here. Well, I think it's been, 5 or 6 years? So, I've got about 3 new CDs. I'm playing some songs from the CD Cosmic Visions.
You're free. The word is from Lynn, you're free.
What am I?
You're free to go as long as you want.
I'll go. Maybe I'll just play music and we'll call it a night. All righty, thank you. We're ready to go.
And thank you, Douglas. Welcome. I think that is enough of a chime introduction right there, like we usually do. Welcome to the Coptic Center and our Sunday evening experience as we gather in light and love and universal truth and an ongoing quest towards self-mastery. Once again, in a Native American perspective tonight with the wonderful flute sounds of Douglas Bluefeather tonight. So looking very forward to more of that as we got into a nice sacred space for the prelude there. And more opportunities for you to enjoy that in just a bit. A couple things going on for us here at the center. We have our ongoing Message 6th Century Ability Development Group with Rosemary Liaveld. That's the first Tuesday of the month, May through August, 7 to 9 p.m. for that. We have a kirtan for you, as you can do some chanting and get a nice Hinduism type of a sacred space with the group. That's coming up on the, I believe that's the May 26th is the next installment of that. So mark your calendar, so that's on the back of your program. And also we have a wonderful opportunity for you to take books out at the Adventurous Library down the hall for you, as well as DVDs, and look at the CopticCenter.org for video replays of our events here on Sunday nights, courtesy of Alan Tutt in the back of the room. So I want to let you know that it's been kind of a busy week for me. I was honored enough to share the Om Chanting Workshop last weekend and had a chance to review that today, and that should be posted very shortly. So if you want to go relive that, I do appreciate you tuning in and reliving a moment that I shared with you last weekend. So that was a special gift. Going to keep things brief so we can enjoy the fullness of Douglas Bluefeather tonight, and let us all please stand if you could and turn to the Blue Tab section, page 7 and 8. It's the Prayer for World Peace. And Alan, do I need to turn something down? I'm hearing a little bit of feedback in the microphone
I was
today.
just thinking about that.
Once again, page 7 and 8, a prayer for world peace. Prayer for world peace. Let's all take a deep breath. Get centered a little bit more. Very nice. And let us begin. I know there is but one mind, which is the mind of God, in which all people live and move and have their being. I know there is a divine pattern for humanity, and within this pattern there is an infinite harmony and peace, cooperation, unity, and mutual helpfulness. I know that the mind of each person, being one with the mind of God, shall discover the method, the way, and the means best fitted to permit the flow of divine love between individuals and nations. I know there shall be a free interchange of ideas, of cultures, of spiritual concepts, of ethics, of educational systems, and scientific discoveries, for all good belongs to all alike. I know that because the divine mind has created us all, we are bound together in one infinite and perfect unity. In bringing about world peace, I know that all people in all nations will remain individual, but unified for the common purpose of promoting peace, happiness, harmony, and prosperity. I know that deep within every person, the divine pattern of perfect peace is already implanted. I now declare that in each person and in leaders of thought everywhere, this divine pattern moves into action and form, to the end that all nations and all people shall live together in peace, harmony, and prosperity forever. So it is now. And please remain standing if you could. Turn to the yellow tab in your Song and Prayer book, and let's share God Is I Am. It's on page 39. God Is I Am. God is in everything I see. God is wherever I may be. God is the life in you and me. God is I am. God is in everything I see. God is wherever I may be. everyone. Okay, it looks like the Coptic Moment's going to have a sabbatical for today because of more time for Douglas's message, which we're looking forward to in a moment. So, welcome back, Douglas Bluefeather. He's been here a couple years ago, sharing his light, love, universal truth, and beautiful sounds of his flute. And as we bring in Douglas, I'd like to share a bit about him, but I'm trying to find his bio so I can share it with you on my phone here. Oh, very good. That's even better. I was all prepared, Douglas. I'm just trying to pop it up on the technology of today. Let's get nostalgic and go from here.
School. It's on a piece of paper.
I usually do, but I thought, let's try something different tonight. So thank you. Douglas is here with us, is standing by my side. Cherokee heritage and adopted Yankton, Sioux, Dakota, is an internationally known recording artist and performer of music featuring the Native American flute, as you just experienced. Recognized as one of the most accomplished flutists of today, or flautist, I believe is how you pronounce it. He has released 20 CDs, wow, and has been heard on radio and TV commercials and music channels, rather, worldwide. The highlights of Douglas's career include winning 12 National Music Awards with over 50 various nominations, and he has been a voting member of the Grammys and the Producers and Engineers Wing since 2007. It's quite the accomplishment. As a world-class musician, Douglas Bluefeather comes with a proven track record of being one of the most talented performers on the Native American flute in the world, and has performed on Fox and NBC TV and at numerous nationally advertised powwows, festivals, expos, universities, and churches throughout the United States. And we're lucky enough to have him here at the Coptic Center once again as he shares a nice musical note again tonight. Prophecy, a spiritual tool for creating a world of beauty with words and the sounds of Douglas Bluefeather. So please welcome Douglas.
Happy damn you. Thank you once again. We've got a write-in in the program here. I'm actually going to play another song for you, and then we'll get into a message. This one's called Pleiadian Love Song. You still here? I gotta check and see if I'm still here. Okay, Linda's been working me hard today. You know, she's got a morning gig as the pianist and choir director and bell director and everything at a Presbyterian church in Grand Rapids. And she had me as the guest musician there this morning. So from Presbyterian to Coptic, all in the same day, I was like, I'm going to need some therapy or something. At least a good sweat lodge when I get home, because I'm a little confused. But this is where I feel comfortable. This is where I feel at home. So nice to be here again. So let's get into it. Prophecy. You know, before any major change has happened on this planet, we've had warning signs. We've been given some kind of message about what might possibly happen. You know, we call these messages, these warning signs, predictions or prophecies. And keep in mind that prophecies show us a potential outcome for the future and gives us the opportunity to choose which path we want to follow, what the outcome is that we want to create. Because prophecies should not always be considered negative. They should offer hope and direction, because prophecy is not written in stone. You know, at the end of the 20th century, some of the best scientists, some of the best minds on our planet said within the next 50 years, mankind could face some of the most difficult challenges we've ever known. And we've certainly seen that in the rise of drastic earth changes, cataclysmic things that have happened, and when the rise of terrorism, the rise of violence, it seems like the world's gone a little crazy. And just earlier this year, before he passed, bless his soul, renowned physicist Stephen Hawking issued a real, you got to think about this one, a real kind of dire prediction about the future. He said within the next 600 years, that's what, 6 generations? He said that before that happens, in less than 600 years, Earth will turn into a sizzling fireball. So that if we don't leave Earth soon, overpopulation will increase energy consumption and pretty much kill us all. So we've got a lot of work to do on that, don't we? And we remember a couple of years ago that fear-based presidential campaign? Well, because the whole world was exposed to that type of fear-based rhetoric and actions that happened, the Science and Security Board of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, who are keepers of the doomsday clock, moved it to 2.5 minutes to midnight, where midnight signifies the end of civilization. And that's the closest we've been to doom since 1953, when both the U.S. and Russia came close to thermonuclear weapons capable of destroying the world. But being enlightened people, and people of faith, people of a higher consciousness, we don't react with fear when we see something like that or we hear something like that, because it gives us a chance to think, to plan, to pray for the future. Again, which outcome do we want to create? As President John F. Kennedy famously declared once, "Our problems are man-made, therefore they can be solved by man." And we have to have faith that we will, in fact, solve our problems. So, are these the end times? As foretold in so many prophecies, it could certainly be said that these are the end times, not just from the Native American culture, but from prophecies of all the spiritual paths, from all religions, because the similarities are very similar, very uncanny. So we have to ask ourselves, are these the end times? But from the Native American standpoint, there is no end, only the endings of cycles and the beginnings of new ones. Everything is in a circle. The drum is in a circle. How many ladies here have been to a sweat lodge? What type of clothing do you wear in a sweat lodge? You wear a skirt, right? At the bottom of that skirt is a circle. It's a hoop. And you're standing in the center of that hoop. You're standing in the center of your power. I don't know why, or I don't know if anybody ever told you that that's why you wear a skirt in ceremony. So, the ending of cycles, the beginnings of new ones. I think the last time I was here, I talked about the Mayan calendar. It didn't end. It was simply just the end of a very long cycle and the beginning of a new one that we create from here. There are many Native American prophecies about these times. For example, there's the Iroquois prophecy that tells about the wrestling of the serpents. There are the Hopi prophecies, which tell about the four worlds and the fifth world, which we are about to enter. Among the Blackfoot Indians is a prophecy staff that records prophecies similar to the ones shared by the Hopis and other tribes. From the Cherokee comes the prophecy of the third shaking of the earth, similar to the Hopi. And some of the most noted and accurate prophecies to date have come from the Hopi. Now, the Hopi have a story that around 1100 AD, they met a deity named Masa, the guardian of the earth, who came up through a kiva and appeared very grotesque and bloody from doing battle with evil. What does the word Masa sound like? Messiah, exactly. Masa laid out a life plan by which the Hopis were to live and gave them their prophecies. And this information was said to come directly from the Creator. And how similar is this? Masa added that when the end of the fourth cycle came, he would take over, for he was the first and would be the last. And this, of course, is the same as the Alpha and the Omega. Revelations 22:13 states, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Now, the Hopi have around 100 prophecies, and although a lot of them dealt directly with the Hopi and how they were to live and survive, there were some that applied to us all, and I'm sure you'll recognize these. Think about these. The coming of spinning wheels filled with voices and men who took land that was not theirs. The white men bringing their families in wagons across the prairies. A strange beast-like buffalo, but with great long horns, will overrun the land in large numbers. The coming of the white men's cattle. The land will be crossed by snakes of iron and moving houses. The laying of railroad tracks and the coming of trains. The land shall be crisscrossed by a giant spider's web, and men will have the ability to speak through space. And today the world's covered by a giant grid of web and wires. The grid of wires, we have global, worldwide communication. A gourd of ashes will be invented, and if dropped from the sky, it will boil the oceans and burn the land, causing nothing to grow for many, many years. This, of course, was the invention of the atomic bomb. There will be 3 major world conflicts. The first have been fulfilled, WW1 and 2. I think probably the scariest one said something about a man with orange skin with very weird hair will appear. I'm just kidding. Although I think there was something about that. Nostradamus said something. The Hopi have a prophecy stone. I want to show you that. I'll tell you what this signifies. You can kind of follow along with the diagram of this. Everybody see that okay? Well, the upper path basically shows the path of the white culture and the material world and the technological path. Well, the lower line marks the Hopi path, or the spiritual world. At one point, the two paths are joined by a vertical line, marking the arrival of European settlers. Shortly after that, we see two large circles which signified World War I and World War II, all before this happened. A little further along, we see the heavy dark vertical sign over there, which is today. And following that is a third circle marking what the Hopi call the Great Day of Purification, marking earthly upheavals and the return of the Great Spirit. And after that, the upper path zigzags and fades out, while the lower spiritual path blossoms into the next fifth world. Now, both the Hopi and Mayans recognize that we are approaching the end of a world age. In both cases, the Hopi and the Mayan elders say that everything will not come to an end. Rather, this is a time of transition from one world into another, from one age into another. And the message they give concerns our choice of how we will enter the future, whether we move through with resistance or acceptance. And that will determine how the transition will happen, whether it will be cataclysmic or with gradual peace and tranquility. And I'll show you a little bit of trivia here. Who knows what that symbol means? We've seen that before in some Christian writings, right? I have to go back and look at that one because I don't recall what that one means. But this one, you see that symbol inside what appears to be the sun? That is the Hopi symbol for love and peace. I hate to say this man's name, but Hitler had a fascination with Native Americans and with the occult and with UFOs and metaphysical. If he was here today, I think we could turn him. I think we could convert him, right, into maybe a good guy. But he took that symbol, he reversed it, and that symbol inside there, instead of being a symbol of love and peace, it became a symbol of hatred and evil. So we won't leave that up there. But one of the most well-known and revered native prophecies comes from the Lakota concerning the white buffalo calf woman and the birth of miracle. How many people are familiar with that? All right, just about everybody. If you're not, you can Google white buffalo calf and read what that story is about. I won't get into that. That's a little bit of a lengthy story. But it had to deal with the birth of miracle, the sacred white buffalo calf, which came to pass in 1994 at the Hyder Farm in Janesville, Wisconsin. And Chief Arvil Looking Horse, the keeper of the sacred white buffalo calf pipe, said that the birth of miracle was not only a sign of hope, but it was a warning sign that we are at the crossroads for the fate of the planet and the human family. And I went to that farm after it happened, about a month after it happened, after the crowds had kind of dissipated a little bit. And I talked to Mr. Hayter, the owner of the farm, and he said when it happened, they didn't know anything about miracle or the prophecy, what it meant to anybody. They thought it was just maybe a freak of nature. It was not an albino calf. Didn't have pink eyes, but it was all white. And 2 days after it was born, this information had not been put out to the media. It was not on CNN or any of the news channels because they didn't know what this meant. Well, 2 days after it happened, Arvil Looking Horse, who I just mentioned, showed up at the man's door. Nobody called him on the phone. He didn't see it on TV, but he said he introduced himself and he said, "I'm here because our long-awaited prophecy, the birth of the sacred white buffalo calf, has happened." Yeah, he said, "Creator showed me in a dream how to get here." He didn't have a GPS, didn't have a map. He just drove straight to the man's house. And he said, "To further convince you that I'm telling the truth," he said, "Creator also showed me in the same dream how everything in your house is laid out." And he went on to describe to a T the inside of the man's house and where everything was placed. So he knew that long-awaited prophecy would come to pass. And part of the prophecy was that the sacred white calf would turn all four colors of the human race. Born white, turned yellow, turned red, and finally turned brown. The colors of the human race, the colors of the four directions for the Lakota. And not long after that, a second white buffalo calf was born at the same farm in Janesville in 2006, the first one again being born in 1994. And since then, since that time, it continues to happen. Many sacred white animals have been born. Just a few examples. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the animal nation trying to tell us? When are we going to wake up and realize what we have to do as caretakers of this planet? Another recent Lakota prophecy that came to pass, and I'm sure you heard about this one, it concerned the pipeline at Standing Rock. Remember that? There's still some things going on out there. Still working on keeping that from not happening. But that was a prophecy called the Black Snake. And if it came to pass, it would destroy the way of life of the people. And if you think about it, that pipeline filled with black oil winding around the water, it was like a black snake. And had that been built, and as many pipelines do, rupture, it would have totally destroyed and polluted the water. And that's the life force for all the people out in that region. And they were there protecting the water, knowing that if that prophecy would have come to pass, it could have been deadly. Well, there are many native prophecies that have all come to pass concerning the earth and all of us. Some other ones are: the earth shall be sick, global warming, rising temperatures, water rising, the poles melting. We see these things happening. Animals disappearing. They say we lose about 10,000 species a year, that they become extinct. Wow. Animals would be born deformed because of pollution. Huge stone monsters would appear and tear open the face of the earth. What could that be? Skyscrapers, buildings all over the place. The rivers would burn and the air would burn people's eyes. Pollution. If you've ever been in a big city where the pollution is terrible, you know what I mean. Phoenix, Denver, yeah. Strange diseases would occur. AIDS, cancers. So, again, let's remember that prophecy reminds us of what might happen and what we can do about it, and which path we choose to follow, which outcome do we want. There are many prophetic ifs and maybes. When prophecies tell us why certain things are happening in the world, what might be coming soon, and how we can influence and survive it. As with the white buffalo calf, many prophecies are warning tools with which we can work. And when you look at some of the well-known prophets in our history, many speak of alternative possibilities, not to be confused with alternative facts. And what many prophecies show is a wide range of possibilities rather than just a set sequence of events, because remember, prophecy is not written in stone. You know, the traditional interpretation is that we've got to go through the hard times before we get to the good times. We've got to go through what the Native Americans call the purification, or what the biblical tradition calls the tribulation before the times of peace. Well, the prophet Isaiah talked about the apocalypse. And when we hear that word, we think, oh, everything is destroyed, everything's gone. It's very frightening. But the Greek word apocalypsis means to disclose or reveal. Well, Isaiah saw a time, when the earth was utterly laid waste. Everything was stripped and polluted, a time when nothing would grow. Everything is in ruins, nothing remains. And the moon will blush, and the sun will grow pale. And here's the part that drives scholars crazy. In that same moment in time, when Isaiah saw the terrible vision, he saw another one. He saw a completely opposite vision. He sees a time when streams burst forth in the desert, a time when sorrow and mourning leave the people of earth. He sees a time when the parched lands give water to the flowers, and the eyes of the blind will be open, and the ears of the deaf will be clear. So it's all very frightening. It's all very different, because the two are completely opposite. And scholars say, which one is it? Well, what Isaiah was saying when he saw those completely two opposite visions was that we have the ability to glance into future consequences of the choices we make. And secondly, we have the power to choose which of those consequences we want to experience. We have the power to manifest the future. That's what it comes down to. That's pretty awesome power. And we all know, and we've probably all had experiences myself, you got to be careful what you ask for, because it can happen. Because we can manifest what we want, but we also can manifest what we don't want. So, what can we do to shape and create this future of peace, beauty, lead mankind down the path of peace, not down the path of destruction? What can we do to create all of this? Because we all have a powerful force of inner technology within each one of us. What is that force and technology? It's simply called prayer. And prayer is the most powerful force in the universe. It's the key to helping create a world of beauty, a world of peace. And there are different forms of prayer. You can't say, my form of prayer is better than yours. When I pray with the sacred pipe, the Chanupa, it's better than yours. You can't say, well, my religion's better than yours because we pray in this way and you don't. Prayer is all good. But there's a form of prayer that goes all the way back to the ancient Essene. And it's a prayer that's different than we're used to here in the West. We're used to saying, please God, if you do this, please God, help this person. Please God, heal this person. If you do this for me, I'll change. I'll be a better person. And then, those are all good. But author and visionary lecturer Greg Braden, I know you're familiar with him. He talks about this. It's a mode of prayer that has no words, no outward expression. It's a consciousness that we achieve within ourselves that allows us to choose which of the future prophecies we want to live. And this mode of prayer uses all of who we are to manifest what we want. It brings about thought, feeling, and emotion all together to experience what it feels like to have that prayer answered. Greg Braden told this story, and it's a good example of using thought, feeling, and emotion to manifest the outcome of the prayer. Greg Braden traveled the world, sat with elders, medicine people all over the world, and he shared that information for the betterment of the human race. But he was in New Mexico, and he was with a medicine man there. And it was a time when it had been very dry, a severe drought, and it had been going on for quite a long time. And they were going to go someplace, and the medicine man was going to pray for rain. So they went out in the middle of nowhere, and nothing was around, and they went to a large area where a big medicine wheel was on the ground made with stone. And Greg was ready to watch this medicine man do his thing, go in there and sing and drum and rattles and manifest rain. Well, the medicine man went into that center of that circle. He stood there for a few minutes, just stood there in silence. Came out, and Greg said, that's it? No song, no drum, no rattle? What? You didn't do anything. He said, oh, yes, I did. He said, I stood there, and I imagined feeling the rain pouring down on me. I stood there, and I felt what it was like to be soaking wet. I stood there, and I felt what it was like to feel the mud squishing between my toes. He actually went through the process of the thought, the feeling, and the emotion of being so happy that it was raining after such a severe drought. He went through that process very quickly, in a matter of a couple minutes, utilizing thought, feeling, and emotion. So he said, well, that's it, let's go eat. So, end of the story is, the next day, everything was flooded. It rained and rained and rained. So, can you say that happened? He made it rain? I don't know. I had something very similar happen to me. So, and I'll share this just as another example of what you can all do. This was probably about 15 years ago. There was a very, very large, out of control forest fire in the Rockies. And it had been started by actually a female forest ranger, who accidentally kind of started the whole thing when she was burning a letter from a boyfriend that, was an ending of a bad relationship. And just thousands of acres were scorched. And again, no rain. And it was in the evening, and I was at the Unity Church in Denver. And I was giving a kind of a lecture, a workshop on Native American spirituality. And I talked about this exact thing because we really needed rain. So I said, we turned out the lights. I said, let's go into meditation, and using thought, feeling, and emotion, let's feel what it's like to have the rain coming down on us and the rain helping to put out the out-of-control forest fires. And within less than a minute of that group meditation, all focusing on thought, feeling, and emotion of needing rain, the biggest clap of thunder I think I've ever heard. It shook the building. Just huge, boom. And then the rain came. Yep. It was cool. So, many of the cataclysmic and drastic earth changes that were predicted to happen by 2000, at the end of 1999, the earth is going to, have some earthquakes, magnitude 11 and 12, and the U.S. is going to split down the middle. Those things, they didn't happen, and I'd like to believe that it's because of all the prayers that were said for the human family and for Mother Earth. because there's scientific proof that when groups of people pray together, miracles do happen. So, looking at where we are in our current spiritual chapter, we realize that the present state of world events and unfoldment of life cycles which we set in motion is caused by our own behavior. The ancient Essenes said that the world around us is a mirror of the beliefs that we harbor from within. So let's remember, as we heal our inner challenges through forgiveness, understanding, tolerance, compassion, love, we may full well expect our outer world to mirror that back to us. As a Hopi elder said, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the warriors of the rainbow. Now, the rainbow prophecy refers to the keepers of the legends, the rituals, the ceremony that will be needed when the time comes to restore health to the earth. And that time is now. And we are the people, we are the beings who have awakened and returned to unite and create a world of beauty and peace, a new world of justice, freedom, to reteach the values and the knowledge that were lost over time, demonstrating how unity and harmony and love is the only way forward. So the rainbow has always held special significance among different Native American tribes. It's connected to the spirit in all things. And there are many prophecies and stories from the Hopi, the Zuni, the Cherokee, all related to the rainbow warrior, that say, there will come a day when people of all races, colors, and creeds will put aside their differences. They will come together in love, joining hands in unification to heal the earth and all her children. They will move over the earth like a great whirling rainbow, bringing peace, understanding, and healing everywhere they go. Many creatures thought to be extinct will reappear. The great trees that perished will return almost overnight. All living things will flourish, drawing sustenance from the breast of our mother, the earth. So in closing, believe in the power of prayer. Believe in the magic of prayer. Believe in that inner technology that you all have. Believe that we have the power to manifest and create the world that we want to. Create a world of peace and love and beauty for everyone. And when it comes time for us to stand before a Creator, He won't ask about your love life, won't ask about your business affairs, your politics, won't ask about cheating on your taxes, your indiscretion, won't care how many likes you got on Facebook. He will ask if you cared for His people, His creatures, His land and trees, His grass, His mountains. He will ask if you loved it or if you knew love, if you looked after and honored your own, if you stood for what is right, if you gave of yourself, if you protected those who needed protecting, if you fed those who were hungry, gave warmth to those who were cold, friendship to those who were lonely. He will ask if you cried. He will ask if you smiled. He will ask if you cared. So may we accept these times with love and peace, compassion, understanding, gratitude, and all do our part to create a world of beauty and peace. I say, Homatakwiyasi, we are all related. Wobila. Thank you. Okay. Next.
Very nice. Thank you, Douglas. Wonderful message of world peace and unity and the changes that we're embracing at this time on our planet. And it's a moment of our gathering tonight where we do pass the basket to keep things cool in the summer and warm in the winter and our lights on. And you could open your hearts, wallets, and purses and offer a little tithing. And hold them close to your heart, too, as we prepare to share our love offering affirmation that is in our program. And do so with your own special intentions this evening as well. And let us share that now. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am thankful. And so thankful to have Douglas Blue Feather here tonight with his beautiful music, and Linda for the keyboard as we prepare to pass the basket tonight to gather the tithings.
And bless this together. Mother, Father, God, Creator, infinite source, infinite intelligence, we're so grateful that we're here one more time together to bring together and celebrate who we are. We thank every single person that is here tonight. It wouldn't be the same without everyone here. We've come to bring our purpose, to bring our love, to bring our light, and to share that with every single person we come in contact with. We thank the Coptic Center for allowing us to create this sacred space and to bless it with the beautiful notes, the beautiful love, and the light that we share together. So now as we go to our own special homes and places and intentions that we have, we do know that we are those we have been waiting for. And so because we are the ones who can make the change, we can make the love and the light grow. We can honor Mother, we can honor Gaia with every single breath, with every single heartbeat. And so as we gather together to close the sacred space tonight, keep your heart open. And as you open your eyes, don't forget to smile. Oh.
Thank you, Lori Joy. Thank you, everyone. And if you could please stand and let us share a release and let go. That's in the inside fold of your program. And sing it loud if you know it. So I'll try to newer song for our list of music here, so here we go. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Let's repeat it, everyone. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Thank you, everyone, for singing out. Upcoming weekends on the Sunday Evening Experience. It's change your vocabulary, change your mindset, change your life. It's Coptic teacher Amy Seekman and a little bit of Mary Poppins, I believe, sprinkled in. So remember the music from that music? We'll have some fun with that next week with Amy and all of us here as we gather. New Moon Meditation and Healing Service for Mother's Day weekend. That's on the 13th. And we also have our workshop experience coming up with Michael Joy. That's in the month of May. And Michael, would you like to share a little bit about that? Impromptu or not?
It's the Symphony of Peace Prayers that happens globally in May.
Nice.
And it happens to be happening that weekend, May 20, so it's perfect. We'll be doing a flag ceremony. We'll be singing some songs around peace and harmony and oneness. It'll be fun. If weather permitting, we'll do it out at the Peace Bowl.
Very nice. Okay.
Michael,
Yes,
may I make an announcement?
please do.
We are reinstating a Friday night healing, and it's going to happen this coming Friday. Anyone that would like a healing may come anytime between 7 and 9, and it's with a love offering. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Claudia.
Yes, here.
All right. Nice healing gathering on this upcoming Friday with Claudia and some other Coptics as well. John, what do you know? Okay. And all right, very good. Also, if you're joining us for the very first time, we look in the inside of your song and prayer book. There's a welcome little sheet you can fill out to get on our email list, and more information about the Coptic Fellowship, too, is with our brochure. You can take that home with you. All right, so as we begin to close, I'd like to remind you, too, that Douglas Blue Feather has his CDs in the Meet and Greet Room, along with other Native American nice items that you can take a browse through as well.
Cookies.
And cookies by Alex. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? Please do. Okay.
Give you a quick plug on this. I'm going to be back in Grand Rapids the first weekend in November. This will be the second year for this expo. It's a wonderful metaphysical expo at the Deltaplex Center. So it's the first weekend in November. Last year it was in October, but they had to change the dates because they could not get the facility in October. So I told Linda I'll send her a flyer about that. So stop by. It's a wonderful metaphysical event.
Very nice, Douglas. Thank you. And let's have a closing prayer, everyone, and let's take a nice deep breath, if you could. And exhale. So thankful tonight to gather in the sounds and the energies of Douglas Bluefeather as he spreads his wings and makes a stop here as we gather in universal truth and prophecy for the changing times. Let's hold the energy, everyone, in grounding peace and love into Mother Earth, and peace and love within ourselves, and radiate that outwardly to all that cross our path. Such a time of change, let's embrace the change and make it easier on ourselves with the chaos around us that is unstabling at times. May we draw from our spirit family and Mother Earth herself to guide us on the way every step of the way, each and every day, with kindness, with grace, and with ease. And this we pray in oneness on this night and always. Amen. Blessings, everyone, and join us in the meet and greet room. We'll see you next week.
How are you doing? Good.
I didn't bother.